My name is Richard Charter. I'm a composer and artist in Victoria, British Columbia. I'm a composer by trade, and so I mostly work in drawing scores and writing music notation, which was the inspiration for most of these works in the collection. They are abstractions of music scores, and so they're not meant to look like the precise music notation, but they are meant to be an affectation, a sort of image of what music scores are meant to look like, such that the observer can look at these and intuit their own sense of musical narrative, such that even though that we're standing in silence in a gallery space, that it is still affectively, psychologically, a very loud experience to look at one of these works. The concept of vertical human horizontal world was inspired from reading Canadian prairie poetry, specifically, which is very often concerned with the image of the vertical human being set against a horizontal plane of the natural world, and the implication that is felt by reckoning with the fact that you are the only vertical intrusion in an otherwise horizontal landscape. And it gives a lot of dignity to the human, as well as the sort of the symbolism of being the sort of only upright thing against this natural environment. And I think that's what I want to ultimately achieve with doing these works that are composed, strictly speaking, of vertical and horizontal lines. What is the implication, the symbolism that is bound up within these intersections of lines?
Material that you use to do these pieces has some significance, or?
I was finding that in order to draw a straight line for writing a score, I would have to use a pen and a straight edge to write a very earnest and sterile straight line. I found that with the thread and needle, I could actually just apply a straight line directly onto the page, or in this case, the canvas. And so the thread and needle became a much more valuable, useful tool for creating straight lines on canvas.
Now, question, how long do you have to practice to have these lines like that? Like, I mean, wow.
It's a very slow and tedious process. It's actually very methodical and actually find very therapeutic after a while, but the precision of it is challenging, and in fact, it's nice to be able to work with thread, because if I make a mistake, I can simply lift the thread back out of the canvas, as opposed to the pen and ink, which is not as much as forgiving, certainly, if I make a mistake.
What type of music are these pieces from?
My background is in contemporary classical, so primarily in 20th century classical music, which does tend to move more towards graphic notation. So less of a strict adherence to traditional normative practices of notation, more towards the image, graphics that may evoke a certain concept, and it's left up to the performer as to what that exactly would sound like. And so a piece of music is very much about the image, the concept behind that sound, and then it's left up to the performer to decide exactly what a shape would sound like up to their interpretation. And I think in an exhibit like this, the audience is also invited to participate in that project, to look and imagine what a shape may sound like.
So this is your first show? Is the first time that you do this, or you've been showing already your work?
I've been exhibiting for about 4 years now.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been throughout Western Canada, so I've had works shown in Alberta as well as British Columbia. Yes.
And after this, what's your next project with this type of art?
Well, during the pandemic, I had an incredible fecundity of productivity with creating these visual works, and so I'm actually wanting to step away from that. And now that we have the opportunity to do live performances again, I'm hoping to do more in terms of music performance and composing. And ideally, there will be ensembles who are vying to have composers write original works for them to perform. So I'm hoping that there can be a lot more opportunities for live music to happen in the next while.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks very much.